In the dark of a London factory, the workers' gums glowed an eerie greenish-white, the light of a poison eating their jaws away. It began, as many revolutions do, with a small and useful thing. In either 1826 or 1827, an English chemist and pharmacist named John Walker created the first commercially successful friction match. For the first time, ordinary people could summon fire with a single scrape. Walker chose not to patent his invention. He doubted not, he said, that it would be a benefit to the public. And it was, but not only in the way he imagined. Other producers, including the London chemist Samuel Jones, quickly copied him, and Walker himself ceased production by 1830. Matches known as lucifers were spreading fast. Then, in 1830, the French chemist Charles Sauria applied white phosphorus to the manufacture of wooden matches. 6 years after the first lucifers, it was found that adding white phosphorus created the strike anywhere match. It was cheap, it was convenient, and the technique spread worldwide. But white phosphorus carried two hidden costs. It could ignite by itself, and it was toxic to the workers who handled it. The light that conquered the world had already begun to bite the hands that made it. Part 1, the glowing jaw. And almost no one was watching where those hands were. The workers who paid the price were largely women and teenage girls, packed into factories in the East End of London. One of the biggest employers there was the Bryant May factory. Day after day, they breathed the fumes of white phosphorus without proper safeguards. And slowly, invisibly, the poison went to work on their bones. The disease had a formal name, phosphorus necrosis of the jaw, but everyone knew it by a grimmer one, phossy jaw. White phosphorus vapor destroyed the jawbones from within. Workers developed unbearable abscesses in their mouths. Their faces became disfigured. In some cases, the poison reached the brain, and the damage was fatal. And there was one detail so strange it reads like folklore, yet it was medical fact. In the dark, the sufferer's gums glowed an eerie greenish-white. Imagine that. A person could sit in an unlit room and watch a pale light seep from her own mouth, the visible signature of the thing that was killing her. What could doctors even do against a disease that turned bone to rot? The answer, as we will see, was almost as terrible as the disease itself. Part 2, Cornelia and the surgeon's knife. The only treatment was the knife. Surgeons performed mouth debridement, cutting away the dead bone to stop the patient dying from organ failure. It could save a life, but it could not give a face back. Sufferers were often left permanently disfigured by the disease and by the surgery, both. The medical record preserves one such case with painful clarity. In 1857, the surgeon James Rushmore Wood published a paper titled "Removal of the Entire Lower Jaw." It was a detailed case history of an operation on his patient, a 16-year-old girl named Cornelia, 16 years old, and her entire lower jaw removed to keep her alive. Behind that clinical title sits a young life reshaped forever by a match head. And here is the fact that should stop us cold. The cause of phossy jaw was recognized as early as 1844. The link between the poison and the rotting jaws was understood. Yet the danger was allowed to continue for decades. Why? Why would a known, named, documented cause of disfigurement and death be left in the workplace year after year? Part 3, the Halfpenny Weekly. To answer that, we have to follow the money and the silence that protected it. For years, the conditions inside the match factories stayed hidden behind factory walls. The work was dangerous precisely because of exposure to white or yellow phosphorus, whose poisonous fumes could cause necrosis of the jaw. and the workers had little power to complain. At Bryant and May, matchgirls could be fined at a foreman's discretion for trivial things, dirty feet, or simply talking. Every penny mattered, and the fines took them. Then the silence cracked. On the 23rd of June, 1888, the activist Annie Besant, together with Herbert Burroughs, published an article in Besant's Halfpenny Weekly, The Link. It laid the conditions bare for the public to read. The management's response tells you everything about the balance of power. They tried to get the workforce to sign a paper contradicting the article, but the workers refused to sign. That refusal, a room full of underpaid young women declining to put their names to a lie, was the spark. In July 1888, the women and teenage girls at the Bryant and May factory in Bow went on strike. It began as a protest over a single worker's dismissal. It became something far larger. But could a group with no money, no union tradition, and everything to lose actually win? Part 4, The Strike That Held. They could. With the help of Annie Besant, the strikers organized and bargained. They pressed for an end to the unfair pay deductions and for other improvements to their conditions. And they succeeded. The Matchgirls Strike of 1888 became one of the most famous industrial actions of its age. Proof that even the most vulnerable workers, standing together, could force a powerful employer to the table. But winning better pay did not, by itself, remove the poison from the air. The deeper problem remained. As long as white phosphorus was in the match head, the fumes would keep rising and the jaws would keep rotting. What made the continued use of white phosphorus so damning was a simple fact that was becoming impossible to ignore. There was already a safer way. Red phosphorus did not carry the same horrific health impact as white phosphorus, and it could be used to make safety matches. The deadly ingredient was not necessary. It was merely cheap and convenient. So the question sharpened into something moral. If a safe match could be made, why was anyone still dying to make an unsafe one? Part 5, Lights in Darkest England. The safe match was not new. It had been invented decades before the strike. In 1844, the Swedish chemist Gustav Erik Pasch introduced matches that would not self-ignite. His insight was elegant. Remove the white phosphorus from the match head altogether, and instead put red phosphorus into a striking surface on the outside of the matchbox. He secured a patent that same year and began production in Stockholm. But Pasch ran into trouble. Manufacturing problems and the difficulty of producing cheap red phosphorus pushed prices too high, and he was never able to commercially exploit the invention. The idea waited for others to carry it forward. That fell to the Swedish chemist Johan Lundström and his entrepreneur brother Carl, who took Pasch's innovation into large-scale production and designed the matchbox with a sliding drawer that we still recognize today. And then, remarkably, the ethical argument was tested in the very heart of the problem. In 1891, the Salvation Army opened a match factory near Bow, producing safe red phosphorus matches called Lights in Darkest England. It paid its workforce roughly twice the usual rate. It survived about 10 years before being bought out by Bryant and May. But it had proved the point that mattered. A safe factory, paying fair wages, could actually work. The excuse of impossibility was gone. Part 6, The Poison Band. After that, change came, slowly and then decisively. In 1901, Bryant and May announced they would stop using white phosphorus. The pressure was now international. In 1906, the nations of Europe concluded the Berne Convention, formally The International Convention respecting the prohibition of the use of white or yellow phosphorus in the manufacture of matches. It prohibited the use, import, and sale of white phosphorus matches. It was concluded on the 26th of September, 1906, and entered into force on the 1st of January, 1912. Britain, notably, abstained from signing at first, but the domestic tide had turned. The 1908 White Phosphorus Matches Prohibition Bill passed in the United Kingdom with a 2-year grace period, taking full effect on the 1st of January, 1911. It had taken from 1844, when the cause was recognized, until 1910 and 1911 for British law to finally forbid the poison, a gap of more than 60 years. But once the ban held, the result was absolute. Because of a worldwide ban on white phosphorus in match production, phossy jaw no longer exists. A disease that ate the jaws of thousands was not cured by medicine. It was ended by regulation, by the decision to remove the poison from the workplace. It remains a historical example of why workplace safety rules exist at all, because someone once glowed in the dark. If this history stirs concern about unsafe or exploitative working conditions today, you can seek guidance from your National Workplace Safety Authority or Occupational Health Service, or from a recognized workers' rights and support organization in your country.